going on, everybody? We're back. The Cheers Podcast, Comic Call. I'm here with M. Fisk. As always, there she is. Look at her glowing.
Glowing is too generous.
In the daylight.
I'm awaking on a Sunday.
It's uncanny doing a podcast with somebody during the day. I feel like most of these that I do with Lorenzo and with other people are at night. So this is always a delight to see you. Like I said, shimmering.
Oh, you go on. It's exciting. We have our first guest on the podcast.
We do have our first guest.
Week too.
He is
joining us poolside because he's living a luxurious life.
His best life. Goodness gracious. I'm so jealous.
David Balagizi.
Getting a tan. Oh, I think he's frozen. There we go. Hey, can you hear us?
There he is. Hey, David.
Hey, how you guys doing? How you doing?
We're good. We're good.
Excited to have
jealous.
You, man.
We're jealous. Getting
David
your tan on.
Here, dude. I'm trying to get blacker. That's the goal.
Blacker. I don't know.
David's one of PC's favorites, I would say. He does more mics in one night than I think about doing in a whole month.
That's a feat.
Absolutely hilarious. He's been in DC, New York, and he's like all over that TikTok.
Yes. Yep. I got my company right here.
Repping the brand.
Look at that. Wow.
Yeah, man.
I love TikTok. I love them a lot. They pay not too bad.
Not too bad.
I should not say that.
You should own your. I mean, but if it's pay and own it, like you doing the work, you should get paid for it.
Yeah. Hey, it's fun. Like I just said earlier, is like I get paid to like set up my phone, stretch, and disappoint my parents. Like that's what I do every day.
Speaking of parents, so David sent us one of his favorite clips that he's done recently. We're gonna give it a listen, and then I want to hear all about the backstory on it.
Let's do it. Let's see.
I'm excited.
We're on your Instagram _Zuni_, and here's the clip.
That I have an African father. Yeah, which means I'm a survivor. Because African fathers are stubborn as shit, really stubborn. Like, my father was white, he would be a Trump supporter. And you know how I know this? He's a Trump supporter right now. David, we need to make America great again. And I was like, Dad, we don't have plates in our house. We need to make our house great first, Dad. I'm not saying my father was at the Capitol riots, but he did drop somebody off. He did. He does Uber, and he dropped me off. I was there.
Oh, no.
Now, I wasn't at the riots. I overslept, but you would know if I was at the riots. To have that, I have an African.
Wow.
That's wild.
I didn't want to incriminate you by playing your clip there, but...
No, I'm about to get messed up. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no, man. You know what gives it away is that hat.
Yeah.
Nothing else. It's just the
Nothing
fancy
else, yeah.
hat. And I was like, oh my God, that's David.
I appreciate that clip. One of my favorite jokes I have to tell.
Yeah. What inspired you there?
It's so funny, man, because I've always, when I first started comedy, it was like this thing where I noticed a lot of my jokes work when I was talking about myself or my family, because it's more relatable. And when I was starting out, I was like 18, 19. Oh, it's like they're whistling. But when I first started, I was like 18, 19. Nobody wants to hear me talk about sex. Nobody wants to hear me talk about work. People want to hear about things that they can relate to. So I always talked about like just my childhood and how I grew up, and like my father was like my biggest. That was like the biggest inspiration to things funny in my life growing up. So it was very easy for me to just think about how tough it was being raised by an African dad, and it's the contradiction and the stubbornness that came with that. And I remember I was just at a Starbucks in Adams Morgan, and this line just popped up in my head: Trump supporter, African father. And I thought that was hilarious. And then I said it once and it killed, and I was like, I'm never gonna let this die ever. So
now, out of curiosity, is your dad like a really conservative guy? Does he say things like that, or even close to that usually?
It's funny. Two things is, definitely. My father he's a pastor. He passed away last year. He was a pastor.
I'm sorry to hear that.
he's like very conservative. I couldn't come home late. I can't hang out with women, dude. My father wanted me to be gay, but also didn't want me to be gay, which is a weird contradiction, honestly. He was like, if I was around women, he didn't like it. But then if I was like with no woman, it's like, but that's African father.
Wait, what way in which would he encourage you towards that? He'd be like, listen, your friend Carter, very attractive man, or like
it was more so in the way of like, just like, look, like just nothing, like no sex, no woman friends at all. Like my father was just like, he wanted me to just be stuck in school and whatever. Wanted me to be a doctor, the typical immigrant parent thing, wanted me to be a doctor. But I mean, I don't know why he thought I was gonna be a doctor. That's the way I think.
You have another bit about him working at your school, right?
Yeah, he was a janitor at my school.
How was that? Like, I mean, like I know you've like made jokes about it, but like, was extra pressure to like make it to class on time, or?
Definitely. But my thing is, I'm so stubborn, man. Like I get it from him. And just very much so. Like I knew he was at the school. I knew he worked there, and I was still like, I want to cause a scene. I want to be as funny as possible. So I used to get in trouble so much, and the teachers would be like, Dave, I can call your father. And I'm like, please don't call him. He's like next door. Just walk to him. It's like, why are you calling him? Like, that's next door. It's a waste of a call.
Yeah, my mom just got a job at my former high school, and I couldn't imagine. My brother's there now, so my brother's at my high school with my mom working there, even in the same building. I can't imagine how frightening that must be.
Yeah, because like the version. Because like their version of like calling your parents is literally just opening the door and yelling their name, right?
Yeah.
That's funny. That's actually hilarious, yes.
Man, so is most of your comedy based around your family? Is it based around your upbringing? How would you describe it?
That's a good question. I would say right now more so my upbringing, because my thing is, when I first started comedy, I didn't know how to write a joke. I still honestly don't think I know how to, but like writing something that I really struggle with. So I was like, it's very easy to write a joke about my family because, well, for one, I know my family like the back of my hand. A lot of the issues with being a comedian, at least in my life, I don't know about other comedians, but for me, like a lot of the reasons why certain jokes don't work for me is because I don't know 100% of the topic that I'm trying to make fun.
Yes.
But because I know my family, so I can't mess that up. Like nobody knows my family.
That's how I feel like. More than me. Yeah, that's why a lot of jokes I write actually are just like about my personal life, because like I just like I'm not politically like that girl who like knows the issues inside and out, and I do the same thing. Just kind of like making myself the butt of every joke I tell.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
A lot of it being rooted in truth, or what resonates with people is usually rooted in truth. I mean, it's really helpful to be able to pull from your own personal experiences, if it's family related or not, because like you said, like who can challenge you on that, or who would dare to challenge you on that?
Well, exactly. And go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna change topic. I want to hear what you had to say first.
Oh, I like that point so much. It's just that nobody can challenge me on my point, and just because nobody knows my family, like, so how are you gonna say,
exactly.
Your father's a Trump supporter? I thought he was a Biden supporter. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's where I'm at in my comedy right now. I'd like to be more. I want people to think kind of deeply. Like, I want to say things that'll make people kind of challenge their minds, but I'm not at that level yet, just because I'm still, like I said, figuring out how to write a joke. Also, still figuring out what is comedy. Like, I'm doing it for like what? Not even around 4 years, maybe. So I still don't know what I'm doing. So it's like, I mean, who knows? In 3 years, how good I'll be. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, and 4 years ago too, that's when the riots happened. I'm curious, like, I love the like idea of like your dad was driving Uber that day. And he's like, more fares for me.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
What was his like response? Like, was there something where he was like, oh my God, this is not why we came to America?
No, my father, he was very funny, man. It was always something like, I can make money. Like, it was always something like that. Even like during it was even during the what would happen? George Floyd, all that.
George Floyd, yeah.
He was like, I gotta go out, I gotta make money. You know what I mean? Which is kind of honestly sad, but it's funny because he's always just trying to make money for his family. That's the type of guy he was.
You've said
That's fantastic.
you said that your father has since passed away.
Right.
Is telling jokes about him in particular, is that cathartic for you?
Oh man, that's a good question, man.
Like, how do you broach that? Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm still figuring it out because I remember when I first got up on stage when he died. I didn't even want to perform honestly that day, but I just thought about what he would say, and knowing that he'd be like, "Dave, come on, like you got to perform. Don't stop because of me." Like, that's the type of person he'd be. So, even when that first day, it was tough because I was like crying essentially, like just on stage, changing the jokes from is to was. It was something I'd never done before, so
wow,
it was tough.
Yeah.
But in some ways it's kind of cool because I'm like, me and my father was 40 years older than me, so I didn't understand him. But writing jokes about him, and if anything, it kind of like shows how good of a father he is. Like I understand him now. So if I get to tell people that, no, I'm not sad that he died. I'm happy that he. I'm pretty disciplined, so I thank God for him. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't be. I'd be probably hitting one mic a week.
Yeah, I mean, but there's also there's a way in which you continue to like kind of keep his memory alive by telling these stories and telling these jokes. That's gotta be like really healthy too.
Oh no,
well, I assume
100%. I mean, I'd say. I mean, I'll tell you what. I've never been to therapy. I probably should go. I should say after I die. But in some ways, I've always said this comedy has been therapeutic for me. Like it's made me deal with his death so much easier. I've always been the type of comic. Even when I was young and I used to get in trouble, speaking about my father working at my school, it was always because I just like making people laugh. It makes me feel good when people are enjoying themselves. So, to be able to go up on stage and make people feel good made me feel a lot better about my situation last year with my father. So, yeah, that's just the way I think about it.
Yeah, no, it is. It is therapeutic for sure. I mean, like, I've only been to therapy like once in my life, and I think I get more out of stand-up comedy than I ever got out of those like few sessions.
I mean, and I say no out of like a knee-jerk reaction to like a man who's only ever been to therapy once. I'm like, oh no, we should all go to therapy more often.
I agree. My brother he's been going and he's really trying to force me to go. So I'll go eventually.
But how does that make you feel though? That your brother's like, oh, David, you should definitely go to therapy.
It's so funny because I'm like my brother, my father. We're like my brother. I'm so much like my father. My brother is like he's like kind of the opposite, and I'm like struggling with emotion and dealing with my feelings. So like I'm like, I don't need therapy, man. I'm gonna be all right. I'm just smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol. Like I'm trying to be a man's man, but I'll definitely do therapy, man. I probably need it, and it's always good to say. But I think that you can get therapy and other things just talking to somebody. Like I genuinely believe, and I don't know the statistics on this, but I genuinely believe like doing stand up has made me really understand things that I've struggled with in current situations.
Absolutely.
Just in general, so
yeah,
that's why I do it so much, honestly.
I'll find myself like writing jokes sometimes and like suddenly realize like halfway through is like, oh, I'm journaling about my feelings. Not actually writing jokes. Like
100%. Sometimes when I write jokes, it's like I kind of even start off with just talking about it. I've noticed a lot of my funniest jokes start from just me just talking about it over me just trying to be funny. So yeah, I feel that 100%.
Yeah. So you said your dad was a pastor. Do you feel like you got like some of those public speaking skills, like just going to church with him when you were a kid, or like do you take any of like his like poignant moments? You're like, I'm gonna replicate that on stage.
You guys have some good questions, dude. What do you guys interview or something?
It's almost like that.
No, that's a good question. I never thought about it subconsciously. I'd say no, but honestly, yeah. He was very animated. If I remember correctly, he was very animated. Like he was always very act out. We call it act outs in comedy. He'd do these act outs. He'd be so. He'd get to the punchline of whatever, not punchline, but when he gets to the most important part of his message, he'd make sure he'd say it in a way where it was so like imperative. And I used to watch this for like 10, maybe 15 years, just watching my father just be in his craft and in his passion and in his religion. He really believed in what he was saying. So it was, I guess subconsciously I never really like watched like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It was always just like, wow, this is just dad, so. But now that I think about it positively, I mean, he's always, even off stage, like when he was like at home, he'd be very much so like a speaker. He'd always like bring us together and talk. And I used to be, oh my God, here you go again. So
yeah, there's a way in which like There's a way in which I bet, like, watching that too, like, you can't help but, like, tuck a little bit of it in the back of your mind, right?
Definitely. I never thought about it till right now. So, yeah,
No.
good stuff.
I'm here to change your life.
Do you remember what
I'm actually
what
into
the
this, so thank you.
what denomination was the church? What was he preaching?
Pentecostal spoken tongues.
Oh my gosh! Oh,
Oh, so he was like doing
Hang
like
on.
this shit.
Hang on a second. That's wild. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah,
What is, like, what is like the wildest story you've got from one of his sermons?
Sermons? I don't even. So
like, did he touch somebody and they were like, you know, freaked out and, you know, like, so everybody's sweating? I
asked you this as a Jewish woman. Like, tell me about the Pentecostal church.
I don't even remember. It's funny because I just started going back to church. I kind of go non-denominational, so I haven't heard it in a minute.
Yeah,
correctly. It was just like, yeah, even my mother, she'll like just like when they pray, they just start going into this language that I don't understand.
Yeah.
So,
that was just like a Sunday for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. Oh my goodness, yeah. I don't remember too much about speaking. Like, I don't remember too much about. I remember he just put his hands on somebody. Like just like feel in the spirit,
like on their head or just on their shoulder. Yeah.
That's so powerful, though. That's like so cool. That like he like was rousing people like emotionally, so like emphatically.
When I was a kid, I thought it was like what is going on? It made me so much to be an adult. I was like, I don't want to be an adult. Of all my friends, but the older I get, the more
I can only imagine.
Oh, man, I could use that because man, life is tough. Life is tough. It's a lot of distractions.
Bonkers.
And so I like not to like get into this too much, but like from what little I know about being Pentecostal, it's so like involved. So your dad was a pastor. Were you at church like 3-4 days a week? How often were you there?
Goodness, man. It's weirdly enough, we didn't do we don't do Bible studies, which is kind of weird because like I go to a church that does Bible studies, but no, it wasn't necessarily like we went once, but the issue is that like it was just like I went to a Christian school, so it was just like not only did I go to church, but now I'm going to church every day except
in your
for
off
Saturday,
time, yeah.
You know what I mean? In my off time, I'm going to church. So it's like I couldn't stand, bro.
So like in your off time, were you like watching like The Simpsons or something like bonkers that you're like secretly like in your closet and be like somebody
my
said
father got
somebody
pretty.
told off their parents.
He got pretty progressive when we got older. Like I say, when I was like younger, it was very much so like we had a computer. He was like, don't watch anything on this computer. If it's not homework, don't watch anything. And I remember as soon as he said that, day after I watched like Michael Jackson or something, which was like him was like a sin, But then as he got older, he kind of understood like he can't control his kids too much. So
yeah,
How many where are you in the lineup of your siblings?
I'm the third, so I'm the second to last third. So it's 4 of us. It's my older brother, older sister, then me, and then my younger sister.
Okay, just getting some context too. Yeah, so I'm sure by like the third out of 4, like too, like there's only so much more fight left in you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then one of you was bound to become an influencer, I think, too. It's
I got the odds. I got the odds. That's a good point.
Yeah. So, well, I think we're coming up on our time today.
Yeah, we don't want to keep you too long.
We have a couple of really awesome shows coming up. Do you want to go ahead and plug them?
Oh, for sure. Well, I know this week, what week are we in? This is July sorry, I'm terrible.
July 7th is today.
July 7th. So I guess the week of July 7th to the 14th. I should say 13th. But I guess on this Wednesday, I don't know. I think that's the 10th. Am I right or wrong? The 10th?
I believe it's the 10th, yeah. It's Wednesday the 10th.
Okay. The Wednesday the 10th. Okay, I'm going to be in the Delayson scene in New York. I'm hosting for like Mark Normand and 2 other, Jenny Asberg, I forget her name. There's so many funny guys I'm hosting for. I'm very excited about. Thursday, I'm hosting for Steve Byrne, who's a very cool guy. He's been very nice to me. I'm hosting for him at DC Improv, 7:30. And then on that Friday, I'm hopefully hoping Hotbed. I'll be on at Hotbed, which is in DC, Adams Morgan, 8, 9:45, 11:30. And then, of course, my favorite show, this Saturday, right? Cheers Comedy. First of all, follow them on Instagram if you already don't. Cheers Comedy. I will be there closing out I believe it starts at 8 o'clock. I hope I'm not wrong. I'll be there at 7.
Yeah, this Saturday. Yeah, this Saturday at 7:30 at Fat Pete's Barbecue, and we'll send you that message once
I'm
I
gonna eat that thing.
what time the show is. But yeah,
There it
it's
is.
we've got the American
That's
Fever
it.
Dream.
Boom.
There it is. There he is. The picture of
That-
our headliner, overdressed
I'm
summer in that picture, but always in a hat.
always trying to hide the hairline, dude.
It's
Always.
gonna be shows at 7:30. Tickets are $15 online, half price with the promo code Stripes.
There we go.
So
Super excited.
check us out.
Super
It's gonna be a
excited for
really
this.
fun night. We're featuring first generation and immigrant comedians, because what better way to honor America than to remember nobody's from here.
Exactly. And
Truly.
also, look, hey, immigrants made this country, didn't they? They
There we
helped out a
go.
lot.
Amen.
Somewhere along the way,
amen.
everybody made
Let
country.
me give a force too. I forget.
All right, and by that, and now I've made my political stump speech. So with that, I think we can close it out.
Thank you everybody for watching.
Yeah,
Cheers
thank you for
Comedy
coming out,
DC on
David. We
Instagram.
appreciate it. Enjoy
Yes.
the rest of your sunny summer day.
Get in the pool. Get some
I'm gonna get in the pool with my hat on. I'm not taking it off.
with your hat on.
You
That's a
shouldn't.
bold move. There you go.
Man with a hat in
Hope
the
it's
pool.
waterproof.
What could go better? All right, y'all. We'll see you next time on Comic Call, and thanks for tuning in.
Peace out, everybody.